What's going on, everybody? This is your boy Ryan with another edition of Clutch Sports Talk. Man, it's been a minute, a few weeks. Uh, did some renovations around the house, so I had to move my location. I'm in my office downstairs. I was in an office upstairs, but now I moved downstairs. So the surroundings look a little different. But hey, I just been busy. I got life, I got kids, I got football, I got things going on, I got work. But hey, I'm always glad to get back on here and record a new episode for you guys. A lot's happened since I last recorded. NBA playoffs have kicked off. College football's back. The NFL is getting ready to start tomorrow, actually Thursday. Tons of stuff to talk about. But before I get into all of that, I want to appreciate everyone that's been out there following me and supporting me. I know I've taken a little time off, but I am back, and I am back with a vengeance. Right now, for those of you who are watching me on YouTube, great. I appreciate that. You could always hit that subscribe button and also set up your YouTube account to set up for any notifications, so that way you get the latest version of Sports Talk with me, Ryan Flowers. Also, those who are listening to me on the podcast side of things, you can look me up on Spotify, as well as Apple Podcasts, Tuned In, and there's one other one that I can't, on top of my head, I can't remember, but I'm out there. And also you can look me up on Instagram at clutch.sports.talk. Hit the bio, get all my link information, and it'll get you to where you need to go to get all the information regarding sports. But hey, again, my name is Ryan, and this is Clutch Sports Talk. As you can see back there, let's get into it. So, NFL's back, right? Thank God. We got so much going on in the world right now with politics, activism all across the country, across the world. But one thing we can all agree upon is football. Now, some of you are not going to watch it, and I get it. There's a lot of stuff going on with that in regards to controversies with players wearing different things on the back of the bumpers of their helmet. The NFL is going to be actually putting some type of slogan in the end zone. So me, as a Cowboys fan, I'm not going to see Dallas on one side and Cowboys on the other. It's going to say like end racism. It is what it is. I'm just glad that football is back. Now, for those of you who know me, know that I'm not like, it's not that I don't support what's going on in the country or in the world, but I just want to keep things separate. I feel like football and sports is sports and politics is politics. And I get what's going on in this country. I know the climate, what's going on. Black men are being killed by officers all over the country, and I get that. But the one thing that we all had that we can run away to was sports, and I feel like now that's kind of being taken over, so it is what it is. I'm still going to watch sports, because if I don't, guess what? I don't have a podcast for you, and therefore I'm cheating myself, because I love sports. Everyone that knows me knows that I love sports to death, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to have this podcast. But anyway, NFL's back. A few storylines I want to kind of go over a little bit. Maybe some storylines that you guys are thinking about yourselves. First thing that comes to mind is Tampa Bay. And why Tampa Bay? No, not because of their unis. Tom Brady, man. TB12 is in Tampa Bay, and I can't believe he will be starting against the New Orleans Saints this Sunday. I believe that's a Fox game, early morning game, I think, for the guys on the West Coast, like 10 o'clock, 1 o'clock on the East Coast. But still, Tom Brady will not be in a Patriots uniform. He will be in a Tampa Bay road jersey against those doggone Saints. Who gonna beat them Saints? Might be Tom Brady. I don't know. The storyline for them is going to be interesting. They got a lot on paper. You know, they just picked up Leonard Fournette, who was released or waived by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Gronkowski's back. They already had the wide receivers. Their defense is pretty solid. Now, does Tom Brady have enough in the tank to carry this team to the promised land, which a lot of people are expecting them to be in the Super Bowl? I believe it says Super Bowl is in Tampa Bay this year. So perhaps maybe we might actually get a team might get a team who's hosting the Super Bowl might be from that same city. So we'll see. But it's going to be hard, because guess what? First game on the road against the Saints, you have no preseason game. You're on a brand new team. You're still trying to work everything out, and you're going to go on the road. Your first game in the Mercedes Superdome. It's going to be tough, and I get it. I don't know if the Saints are going to have fans or not, but it's still the Superdome, and it's still the New Orleans Saints. You still got Drew Brees on the other side. You still got Kamara. You still got Michael Thomas. You still got those other guys on the other side of this field who are ready to get it on. So that's going to be a tough division. Atlanta's going to be better than what I think, what most people are giving them credit for. Carolina might be stout. You know, all divisional games are typically pretty hard unless you're from New England or you're the New England Patriots, where typically your division games are pretty easy. But I may be mistaken on that one. But anyway, I digress. Another storyline, will Kansas City repeat? They open up tomorrow against the Houston Texans. They're going to unveil their new Super Bowl banner. Patrick Mahomes has got a boatload of money, and so did Deshaun Watson, so he has a lot to prove as well. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. But Kansas City, will they have a what you call it, a letdown? Will they have a hangover, a Super Bowl hangover? Most teams do not repeat as Super Bowl champs. It's very rare that you see that now. Mostly in any sport, yet alone football, unless it's college football, because Alabama's always in there. But in professional football, it's very hard. The New England Patriots is one of the last teams to ever do something like that. So it's going to be interesting to see will they have the hunger to go out and go ahead and try to defend that Super Bowl championship. So, like I said, they open up with the Texans tomorrow at home. They dropped the banner. Mahomes got a lot of money. They added some pieces through the draft, and they still were able to retain a lot of good players. So, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But it's definitely going to be tough. I think everyone already has them slotted in the Super Bowl. If I'm not mistaken, a few days ago, I believe in Madden 21, they simulated so many games. I forgot how many they did, but excuse me. But they ended up having the Chiefs and the Cowboys ending up in the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs ended up blowing out the Cowboys, whatever. But either way, a lot of people have them slotted to be in the Super Bowl or in the contention for it. But it's gonna be difficult. I feel like the AFC is a little bit easier than the NFC, so they do have a chance. Because really, honestly, you can make a case for maybe 3 teams out of the AFC, but really it's Baltimore and Kansas City. They're the ones that are going to be duking it out for the right. If Baltimore can kind of get their playoff struggles together and maybe get that first, get over that hump, but we'll see. The other storyline I got, Cam Newton. Is he going to struggle? He's on that 1-year deal, like for $1 million or something like that. Their first couple of games, man, and for those of you who've been following me, I did a schedule podcast show months ago and back I think in late April when the schedule came out, and this is before Cam Newton signed with New England. But their first couple of games are going to be tough, man. I mean, literally, they got a lot that they're going to be dealing with. They got Seattle, I know, in the beginning, a divisional game, I'm not mistaken, the Niners, the Chiefs. So will Cam Newton struggle? It's a new system, new offense, new environment. And let's just be honest, the New England Patriots do not have the wide receiver talent. They don't really have any offensive talent to be honest with you. Their mainstay is basically on the defensive side. So it's going to be interesting from there to see how he's going to, progress in a different type of offense run by McDaniels and Bill Belichick. And he's coming off an injury, but he's got a lot to prove. We know he has a chip on his shoulder. Is he a top 10 quarterback? He probably still is, maybe top 15. He's still Cam Newton. He's still an MVP. He still made it to the Super Bowl, but he's in the twilight of his career, and hopefully going to New England will help resurrect his career. Good thing for him. You get to play the Jets twice. You get to play, the up and coming Dolphins twice. Buffalo might be a little difficult of a task, especially when you have to go to Orchard Park, but in Gillette, they own the Bills. So, once he can get into those divisional games, maybe they got a chance. But do I see them making the playoffs with Cam Newton? I don't really think so at this point in time. But hey, check back with me in a few weeks, and maybe you never know. But the first 2 weeks are going to tell you a lot about what's going to happen, and it may be in their favor, it may not be in his favor. But we'll just have to wait and see about that. But the NFL is definitely a great thing for it to be back. And of course, I can't talk about the NFL. I don't talk about those. Hold on, let me get y'all ready. The Dallas Cowboys, right? Sorry, my hat was a little dirty. But anyway, the Dallas Cowboys, I have to talk about them. Everybody in America talks about them. Whether you hate them, you love them, you like them, whatever, you got to talk about them. You turn on the TV, you watching Skip and Shannon, guess what? They talk about the Cowboys at least 3 or 4 times. You turn on the other show on ESPN, I forgot the name of that one, with Stephen A. and Max Kellerman. Guess what? Cowboys. So we're going to talk about Cowboys just here a little bit. A little segue, though, for you, though. For those of you who like the Dallas Cowboys, I actually have another Instagram page called Cowboys Countdown. Just like that, you type in Cowboys_Countdown. You can follow me on there as well. I got information about the Cowboys. I'm going to be going live before games and after games or post-game and reactions and stuff. But anyway, back to Clutch Sports Talk. The Dallas Cowboys, basically, on paper, they have one of the best rosters in the league. Now, there are some discrepancies, especially we have an unproven secondary, Earl Thomas is still he's still out there. He just was released by the Baltimore Ravens a week or 2 weeks ago. We haven't signed him. Probably won't sign him. From what I understand, he's a cancer in the locker room. I guess a lot of guys don't really like playing for him, and I think Jerry and the rest of his staff and his people, they kind of like what they got back there with Xavier Woods. They just brought back Brandon Carr, who was a corner for us a few years ago. He was okay, but I think he played a lot of safety in Baltimore, so they're going to bring him up maybe to kind of bolster the safety position, because they did release Clinton Dix last week, who they did bring in and signed him to a hefty bonus, but they released him, so they owe him about $2 million. So our linebacking core is one of the top 3 linebacking core in the NFL, and our defensive line is going to be nasty. I mean, we got DeMarcus Lawrence. Hopefully he's healthy. He played he got paid last season, going into last season. He was hurt a little bit. I think he had like a torn shoulder labrum, something like that. Didn't live up to expectations. Didn't live up to the money that he signed for. Then we ended up getting Everson Griffin. I mean, he's a solid dude. I'm a Trojan fan, so I've been following his career for quite some time. He's been balling in Minnesota. We ended up landing him on the other end. So good luck trying to double team any one of them. Our defensive tackles are a little unproven. But we got we've drafted well there, so we're going to see what happens there. But the big thing coming out of Dallas, actually 2 big things to me. Well, about 3 or 4, excuse me. But one, CeeDee Lamb, the rookie out of Oklahoma. What's he going to do? When you pair him with Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup, you can't double team everybody in the field. Will he get open? Are they going to play him in the slot? They're going to move him around. We're going to have to wait and see, because Mike McCarthy is bringing in his type of fundamentals, combined with Kellen Moore, who was offense coordinator last year, who was actually, he was a mainstay from the Garrett regime. The Cowboys did lead the league in a lot of the top offensive statistics in the league. So maybe you pair him with Mike McCarthy's experience and pedigree. Maybe we got something. Number 2, Zeke Elliott looking pretty good. Looks like he lost some weight. We'll see how that goes. Zeke's been quiet for the most part. Really hasn't said or gotten in trouble too much in the offseason, which is good. Hasn't ran his mouth or said anything stupid. So I'm glad for that. But the biggest thing coming out of Dallas is, we all know about it, and it still hasn't gotten done. Dak Prescott contract. If you follow Dak Prescott, you know his story, you know his career. He's been a guy that's always betted on himself. From college up until now, he said, you know what? He feels good. He's got a fire in his belly, and the fire's big. That's what he said. He didn't say that to me, but he said that in an article. And I believe him. I support Dak. Is he a top 4 or 5 quarterback? No, but you know what? He's good enough to win a Super Bowl. Is he Patrick Mahomes? No, but Patrick Mahomes needs to be like that for that team. Dak doesn't have to be like that. He actually has other stars around him that can help support him. He just has to be a little bit better than what he is now. He has a winning percentage in the league now. Is he? Honestly, everyone talks about Deshaun Watson, about him being so great. I'm like, I don't see it. I know they played each other a year or 2 ago, head to head, and they ended up winning. But football is a team sport. I just don't see what is so great about Deshaun Watson. It takes a lot of hits, a lot of unnecessary hits. He gets sacked a lot of it because his line does suck. I'll give him that. But I don't understand. A lot of people are just like, oh my God, Deshaun Watson this and that. And it's like, he's better than Dak. He's the best quarterback in Texas. No, he's not. I don't think he's that much better. But hey, if you think I'm wrong, hit me up on Instagram, leave a comment on YouTube or wherever. Let me know. We can hash it out real quick. But I'm just telling you, Deshaun Watson's good. I'm not saying he sucks, but I don't think he's that much better than Dak Prescott. Maybe he throws the ball a little bit better. I'll give him that. Dak needs to work on his accuracy a little bit, but Dak Prescott is a winner. And I know that sounds so cliche, but he is a winner. He's won in college, maybe not on a national championship level, but look where he was at. He was at Mississippi State. He took that team to that college. He led them to one of their best seasons ever. They were number 1 at one point in the country, and you're like, Dak Prescott? Yeah, right. Yeah, Dak Prescott did that. So, and look what he's done with the Cowboys. Came in his rookie year. Tony Romo was supposed to be the starter, goes down against Seattle, I believe, in like week 2 or week 3 of the preseason. And then he leads the Cowboys, obviously, to the playoffs, but they had like a 13-3 regular season. So you can't deny that, but he has to progress. There's some aspects of his game that he does need to improve. But as a Cowboys fan, I support Dak Prescott. Now, is he worth like the money that he maybe want? That's one. Money is one thing. I'm not gonna mess around with players and their money. It is what it is. But I will say he's very important to the move to the future of the Dallas Cowboys, and I think he's gonna go out. He's gonna ball out. He's gonna rock out, and he's gonna get paid. Just mark my words. I said it here. What I'm saying? September 9th, 2020. I'm telling you, Dak Prescott's gonna ball out. Might be in contention with the MVP. Never know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But early season predictions for the NFL. I agree. I think Kansas City will probably be in the running for the Super Bowl. The NFC is going to be tough because you have a lot of good teams. You got the Niners that are returning pretty much everybody that they played with in the Super Bowl. The Saints can they can go either way. They can really be really good or they can be really bad. Teddy Bridgewater's not there anymore. So if Drew Brees gets hurt, because Drew Brees is 40 plus, and if doesn't have a great season, who are they going to put back there? Taysom Hill? Nah, he's not that dude. The Vikings. The Vikings are solid, but you know what, Kirk? They're just like they're kind of to me middle of the pack. They're good, but then you see Kirk Cousins sometimes, and he's a decent quarterback, but he doesn't play well in big games. And they just got blown out, I believe, in the NFC divisional round against the Niners in the playoffs last season. Or was it the conference championship? I forget. But anyway, the game wasn't close. That's what I'm saying. So, and there's the other got Green Bay. Green Bay's got problems. They got problems with the head coach and the quarterback. They took a quarterback in the first round. This guy he's third on the depth chart, and the guy that was undrafted beat him out. So it's like they got a lot of stuff going on there. And Aaron Rodgers probably don't even want to be in Green Bay anymore, to be honest with you. Sorry for you Packer fans out there. He probably don't want to be there anymore. So who else is out there? You mean the Buccaneers? Yeah, like I talked in the beginning of the show, that, yeah, they might have a chance, but they got a lot that they have to put together. And it's going to be a long season, hopefully, if nothing else shuts down. But does Tom Brady still have enough in the tank? He's going to a new team, new system, no preseason, all that other stuff. So we'll just have to see. And of course, like I said, the Dallas Cowboys, for the longest, I've struggled as a Cowboys fan. We've always pretty much had some of the best talent on paper in the league, but it's never translated to the field. And so I hope with this new coaching staff, this new outlook, that maybe the Cowboys can actually put it together and maybe make a Super Bowl. Last time they won a Super Bowl in 96, I was in the 6th grade. I'm 36 years old now. Yeah, let that match sink in. It's been a while. And I know I hear from everybody every day about how long it's been since the Cowboys made the damn playoffs or even win the Super Bowl. So I get it. But with the talent, the offensive power we got on offense, and the defense looking a little bit better, and maybe we do go out and get Earl Thomas. You never know. Seattle's a team that, on paper they look good. They run the ball well. They've added Jamal Adams to their secondary, but their defensive pass rush is not that great. Clowney's gone. He's in Tennessee. On defense, they got 2 solid players, Bobby Wagner and Jamal Adams. But on offense, it's Russell Wilson all the way. So, and I love Russell Wilson. I mean, he's better than Dak Prescott, I'll tell you that. But I love that dude. So, if I had to pick another team, I would probably roll with the Seahawks. But and then the Rams. The Rams are going to be good too. From what I'm understanding, Cam Akers been running the ball real well in camp. Sean McVay is a very good coach. I know they kind of fell apart a little bit last year, but there was a lot going on. I don't think Todd Gurley was a good fit there anymore. He was injured. He's moved on. They just paid Jalen Ramsey today. You still got Aaron Donald, and Jared Goff is serviceable. He's a pretty good quarterback within that offense. And they got the new stadium over there in Inglewood. So we'll just have to wait and see with the Rams. And there's probably some other teams that I'm leaving out, but those are the main teams that a lot of people are trending up on and actually like in the NFC. So I will say there are 2 sleepers in the NFL, AFC and NFC, that I will be keeping my eye on this year. One out of the AFC North, the Cleveland Browns. Yes, I said it, the Cleveland Browns. Now, everyone was on the hype train last year with Baker and OBJ and all these other guys out there, and they didn't live up to expectations. They had a first-time head coach who went from like being, I forgot what he was, and then boom, he had no experience in that, and it showed. That team got away quickly, and they went in the tank fast. So I expect them to do a lot better this year. They're going to be a lot more conservative. They're going to run the ball. They have 2 really good running backs with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is a top 5 running back, I would believe. Maybe top 6, top 7, on some other people's lists. But they will run the ball. Kevin Stefanski, who was offensive coordinator from the Minnesota Vikings, is now the head coach there. Maybe he can bring a little bit more stability and run the ball, and that'll open up some passing lanes for OBJ, Juice Landry, and David Njoku. So they definitely have the talent on paper. Offense and defensive side of the ball, they got the talent. They just have to put it together. And I think this is the year. Now, they're in a tough division. You got Baltimore. Well, I wouldn't say too tough, but the wild card in that division is Pittsburgh, because Big Ben is old. Do they really have a number 1 wide receiver in Juju? I don't know. He struggled a little bit, since AB left. But they still do have some offensive power. They still can run the ball, and their defense is amazing. So if Big Ben can just be half of what he is, better than what they had playing quarterback last year, they almost still made the playoffs. After all that, I mean, they got guys playing quarterback for them named Duck, whatever his name, Duck Hodges. It's like, and they almost still made the playoffs. So, it's going to be interesting to see what they do and how they're going to turn out. But if they can get some good quarterback play, Pittsburgh, I'm not saying they're going to win a division, but they might make a push for it. And I know the NFL is adding an extra playoff spot, so who knows? There might be a whole division that make the playoffs. But is that division? No, because the Bengals won't be that good, with Joe Burrow. But Cleveland will have a chance to at least finish second at best, under the Baltimore Ravens. But the other sleeper team, a lot of people are probably talking about them too. A very sexy pick out of the desert here in the Southwest, 4 hours away from me here in Vegas, the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah, the Arizona Cardinals. I said it. Yeah, they got Kyler Murray, offensive rookie of the year. He can sling that thing. He's accurate. He can run. The offense system that they got in there is tremendous. With their first-time head coach. And they added DeAndre Hopkins, and they just extended him. So he's going to be happy. He's going to be out on the prowl to really show people like, hey, I still got it. Because a lot of people, when you talk about wide receivers, you don't remember DeAndre Hopkins. He'll have some catches throughout the year that you'll be like, oh yeah, that dude from Houston, yeah, he's pretty legit. But you don't really talk about him like that in the upper echelon. You hear about Julio, OBJ, those types of guys, but a lot of people don't talk about him. I know about him because I watch football, so I know he's a monster. And I think that, they got rid of David Johnson. He was always hurt all the time. So they moved on from him. But we'll just have to wait and see. But the Arizona Cardinals, they're in a tough division, though. I will say that. And that's where that extra playoff spot might help them out, because you got to deal with, obviously, the Niners. They just went back to the Super Bowl. The Seahawks, that's another playoff team. The Rams are a playoff team. Don't get me wrong. They are a playoff team. They didn't live up to the expectations last year, but they are a Super Bowl team. A playoff team. And then you got the Cardinals. So that's 4 teams in your division. 3 of them are playoff caliber type teams. So it's going to be difficult to try to make the playoffs out of the NFC, because the NFC is just loaded, man. You look at all the divisions with the exception of maybe the NFC East, because it's going to be the Eagles and the Cowboys in the NFC East, but, it is what it is. But anyway, I'm just glad football is back tomorrow. NFL is back tomorrow. Enjoy it, pull up a beer, call some friends over, wear your mask, do what you got to do, and watch it, because it kicks off tomorrow with Houston and the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, football is back. Thank God. Woo! All right, so I'm going to segue over into the into NBA playoffs, because that's hot and heavy right now. Last night, 2 things happened yesterday. Number one, the Bucks are gone. Like, we knew that. I had the Oracle on, Sports Oracle on a few months ago. We were doing betting odds. I got to get him back on. I got to reach out to him, see what his take on is now. But we both had we had Lakers and the Bucks, if I'm not mistaken, going. I don't know what I was thinking. And part of me was like, you know what? It was an easy bet. But deep down, I knew that the Bucks weren't up to the task. And honestly, I like Giannis, but he's not that dude, man. Like, he's not a guy that can carry a whole team. His style of play, first of all, he has to work on his jumper. Basically, in a 7-game series, it's one thing you play a one team one night and then you're on the road and you're playing another team the other night. So, teams are willing to just be like, we don't have the time to spend on trying to key you in all the time. But in a 7-game series, when these guys are in a bubble and they have nothing else to do, guess what? They're going to watch every bit of tape they have on you. And the best way to slow down, I'm not saying stop Giannis because he'll get his points, but the best way to slow him down is to clog the paint. You got to run bodies at that dude in the middle of the paint because that's where he wants to go. And that's what the Heat did. The Heat ended up just saying, you know what, you're not going to beat us. Let Chris Middleton or somebody else beat us. And they couldn't. And, it should have been a sweep, but, the Heat let that one game go, but it should have been a sweep. And it's actually embarrassing, because the Bucks, again, one of the top seeds in the East, don't even get a chance to even go to the Eastern Conference Finals, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like, and you lost to the 5th CT. But I will say the Heat they're playing well. One thing about the bubble, there is no home court advantage. And I've mentioned that to plenty of people several times, that there is no home court advantage. So you're not having to play in a noisy arena on the road, traveling here and there. After the game's over, you go get your snack and your meal, you go back to the room, you watch tape, boom, you wait one day and you're back in it. But the Bucks just don't have enough. Their biggest thing to me, what happened to them, they let Michael Brogdon go to Indiana. They should have paid him, because he probably could have helped out in this series, because other than Chris Middleton being on the side of a milk carton, he had some good games. Game 4, he played pretty well, but they needed him. And Michael Brogdon ended up going to Indiana, who got swept by who? The Heat. So, but the Heat right now, they look young. They look vibrant. Jimmy Butler is balling out of control, and he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's not there to make friends. He's there to make hoops, to make buckets. That's what he's there to do, and that's what they're doing. So the Bucks, if I had a donkey of the day, would have been for yesterday. The Bucks get it, because Giannis, to me, he's a good player. He's great, but I just don't see the fascination with him. He can't shoot. He's got to be able to shoot a lot better from the perimeter, because teams are just going to pack the middle and force him to shoot. So, and that's that. That's my take on the Bucks. Talked about Giannis. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at my notes. It's been a minute. What else is going on? Clippers. The Clippers are in a dogfight, but I think the Clippers will end up winning that series just because they have more talent. They have more star power. Denver is a up-and-coming team. The way they handled themselves coming back down 3-1 against the Jazz was tremendous. Going to that Game 7, Jamal Murray is a budding star. I feel like, we talk about Jokic, but he's the dude. This game is a perimeter played game, and you need guards to score, and he is that dude. I like Jokic. He's a nice piece. He goes well with Jamal Murray. And so the rest, that team is constructed very well. They're maybe about one player away from really, really, really being great. But they got a lot of great pieces on that team, but I don't think it'll be enough. And it showed in their last game. They played tonight, but in Game 3, it showed that they were leading that game. And if it was a regular season game in Staples Center, maybe they win that game. But Doc Rivers calls a timeout and says, hey, Kawhi, Paul George, playoff George, or whatever, playoff Paul, playoff P, whatever the hell your nickname is, y'all need to do something. You guys are both all defensive players of the league. Let's do it. And they locked them down, and nobody was scoring in the end of that game. And then they ended up edging the Nuggets out. So, but the Nuggets do have talent. It's promising for them. We'll just have to see if they're able to add a few more pieces to the pie or to the puzzle to see if they can get over that hump. Because you know what? Guess what? The Clippers are going to be there. They're still young, and there's some other teams we're going to get into here. Actually, next to the Lakers. The Lakers just, took a 2-1 series lead last night against the Houston Rockets over Harden and Westbrook. Westbrook bounced back. I believe he had like 30 points. He was like 13 for 24. Not bad. I think he was like 2 for 3 from the three-point line. So his shooting woes still continue. And like I mentioned this in a podcast previous, I think it was the Oracle podcast. Houston is good. They got nice pieces. They can shoot. They shoot more than anybody in the NBA. But the problem with them is when they're not hitting, they're gonna lose. And they hit shots. They hit a lot of. I believe they hit like 14 or 15 3-pointers last night, and the Lakers hit like 10. But it's easier to get points in the paint than it is to shoot a 3-pointer. It's a higher percentage shot. And right now, what's happening in that series is that, the Lakers are like, you know what? We're just gonna pound you. You guys want to go small because they don't really have a true center anymore since they traded Clint Capella away. So they got guys like Chris Covington and PJ Tucker guarding Anthony Davis. Like, that's a total mismatch. Just throw that thing down to AD. Let him get his money. Let him make his money down there. Easy buckets. The one thing with the Rockets is that they're never out of a game. Why? Because they can hit 3-pointers. But when they're not hitting, and guys like Russell Westbrook, he's a great player. He's a throwback. But you know what? The dude is stubborn as hell. People call it confidence. I think it's stupid sometimes. He'll be missing, he'll go 0 for 10, and he'll just keep taking jumpers instead of trying to drive the paint, which is his game. He is a dribble penetrator and kick it out to somebody. But he yet again in the playoffs, he likes to sit from outside the perimeter and take these dumb shots. And he has a lot of turnovers. He just does. If you look at his playoff history in the past, especially without KD, he turns the ball over. But he did have a nice game last night. He did bounce back. I'll give him credit. But I don't know if Houston has enough. They'll win another game out of this series, but I think Lakers in 6. I think the Lakers they're just gonna. One thing, what I will say about the Lakers is, you look at their roster and you're like, well, they're not that deep. They don't have this other bench and blah blah blah. But you know what, dude? You got AD and LeBron, and that's probably the best tandem in the NBA as far as like guys that are just gonna go and get it. AD is pretty consistent, in his first like deep playoff run. And we all know what LeBron can do when he wants to do it. So, when they lost the first game, I wasn't really concerned because he's not going to get swept by James Harden and Russell Westbrook. It's one thing being beat by Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, KD. Like, hell, most everybody would get beat by them, but he's not losing to James Harden. He's not losing to Russell Westbrook like that. So I wasn't concerned. They just needed to grasp what the speed of the game is like for Houston, because Houston gets up and down the court. I mean, they're running. So I feel like they're going to end up winning that series, and they're going to meet the Clippers. And it's going to be interesting because they split the game 2-2. The Lakers won the last two, one right before the shutdown, and then they won in the bubble. And it's going to come down who can stop who, and the matchup favor the Clippers, but you can't really count out LeBron. For many of you who don't like LeBron, it's hard to count the dude out, especially when he's got his mind made up. He wants to do his thing. And can I say this about the Lakers? Oh, one particular player. Danny Green, you suck, bro. I'm sorry, man. You're supposed to be a 3-and-D type of player. He plays a little bit of defense. It's not bad. But, dude, you got to hit open three-point shots. You can't have dudes like Rondo, who is notoriously a bad shooter, come in and outshoot you at 3-point. And I posted that the other day, and people just laugh, and I'm like, well, it's true. Danny Green, I don't know. KCP's playing better. This is the thing for the Lakers. Here's the key to the Lakers. With playoff Rondo playing as well as he did the other night, they're going to be hard to beat because Rondo is a great facilitator, and he's a smart, talented defensive player when he is engaged. Now, people say, well, Ryan, he's been on so many teams. Why? Because he wears people thin. He has to be in the right environment, the right system. If not, he rubs people wrong and he's out the door. But if you remember, a few years ago, he was with Chicago, and they made a really good, deep run with him. Why? Because he is a still decent player. He's smart, he's a veteran, and he's on the cheap. Now, he doesn't shoot the ball that well that often, so I was surprised he went for 21, but he had like 9 assists, 4 or 5 steals, and he's a rebounding guard as well. And he can pretty much guard a lot of the perimeter players in the league that we have now. So, but, and if Kyle Kuzma can give you 10, 12 points, that's going to help because, LeBron's going to go for 30. AD can almost go for 30. And if Kuzma gives you 14, 15, 16 points, sometimes he might even drop 20, and you get other players like KCP, Caruso, Markieff Morris, chipping in. The Lakers are going to be hard to beat. They're just going to be hard to beat. And I know they're not a sexy-looking team outside of LeBron and AD, the way they're constructed, because they don't shoot the ball the way like other teams do. They don't shoot the three like that, Not even the Clippers shoot the ball like that. But they pack it in. They got really good perimeter defensive players, the Clippers do. And so they're able to beat these teams. So that's my take on that. Three-pointers do win a lot of games, but when you go in a 7-game series, people just say, just shoot it. I'll take the 99.9% shot right under the basket than taking a 35, 34, 40% shot from outside the perimeter. But we'll see. But I think it's going to be the Lakers and the Clippers in the West. And then in the East, Miami and Boston are looking pretty solid. I think Toronto just – they don't have enough size right now to match up with Boston's guards. I mean, you got Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart. These are big dudes. When you guys got like Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet, and those are 2 solid players, but they don't have enough height. When these guys elevate for a shot, you got little dudes on them. So it's hard for them to contest or play any type of defense. And I don't know if Nick Nurse has anybody on the bench he can look down and be like, oh man, where do we get size from now? You know, it's 3-2, and that game might be on right now if I'm not mistaken. So Toronto, you know, by the next episode, Toronto will probably be out, and it'll be Boston and Miami. And I think that's going to be a hell of a series. But I think Miami's got a good shot, man. They have a really good shot of making the NBA Finals. They really do. I didn't think Boston would have, you know, but Boston showed me a lot. Tatum has showed a lot. They played really well, and Marcus Smart's been another really nice surprise. So we'll just have to wait and see. But you know, but I like the Lakers Clippers meeting up for the Western Conference Final, and I like Boston and the Miami Heat doing their thing to make it now. Now in the end, I got to go with Lakers and Heat. That's who I think. I think Lakers end up winning the championship. So my cousin, who's a Clippers fan, he's not gonna like to hear that, but hey, it is what it is. It's my show. It's Clutch Sports Talk with who? Me, Ryan Flowers. But anyway, everybody, man, it is so good to be back. You know, that's all the time that I have for you guys today. Thanks for sticking around. For those of you listening to me in your car or those of you watching me on YouTube, appreciate it, guys. Again, hit me up on the Anchor Podcast app, Clutch Sports Talk. You can hit me up on Spotify, Instagram at clutch.sports.talk. On Instagram, leave me a message, man. Let me know how you're liking the show. I missed you guys. Also, find me on YouTube. Hit that subscribe link and get your notifications turned on so that way you know when Clutch Sports Talk is back on the air. But hey, guys, I appreciate it. Everyone continue to stay safe. Enjoy the first week of NFL action and also continue to enjoy NBA playoffs and all the other sports, NHL, baseball, tennis, golf, everything that's going on, soccer, whatever you like. I appreciate it, guys. This is Clutch Sports Talk with Ryan Flowers. Never settle till the work is done. Let's go.